So my role then was to plant the seed with my team and to say, okay guys, something's got to give, something's got to change, and we have to look at a different way of practicing so that we can reduce stress, so that we can meet the demands of our clients better, so that we can be a more patient-centered practice that is able to fit everybody in when they need. And like Jason was saying, the availability of your doctor, the ability to get an appointment with your doctor is really what people identify as a fundamental and one of the most important needs. So planting the seed, and you know, it wasn't easy. When I first mentioned to Debbie, I took her a paper, just a simple, I got it out of a journal, 2-3 pages on advanced access, and I gave it to her. I said, read this sometime and see what you think. Maybe we can do this. A few days later she came back and she looked at me as if I'd gone absolutely crazy. I thought she was going to quit. And I was praying that she wouldn't. And she didn't, but she still thought I was crazy. And I left it. And that was in October of 2007 that I first brought up the idea of advanced access. By May of 2008, things had continued to grow and continued to get busier. And she eventually came back to me and said, you know what, Mark, I agree with you. We've got to do something. Let's do it. Okay. And Debbie's a doer. She's a lady who, if she decides to do things, preferably it should have been done yesterday. So from a personality point of view, it was great. Once she decided that we're going to try it, then we were going to try it. Okay, so that's the time concept. You have to give time. You have to draw that therapeutic team together. You have to sit and talk about what are we going to do, and you've got to allow time for it to process and for you to think about that whilst you're continuing in your kind of old system. Unfortunately, at this stage, I hadn't yet met the Health Quality Council. I hadn't yet been to an IHI conference, and so we were just kind of decided we were going to wing it. You know, we had a little bit of information about advanced access. The concept for advanced access is very simple, and we were just going to wing it. So one thing that you'll notice from our presentation, for those of you who are statisticians and are going to cry, where's the measuring? Like, what's happened? How come there's a... Christina emailed me, said, yeah, I like your presentation, great pictures of the family and whatever, but like, where's all the measuring? And it's like, I'd been doing advanced access for a whole year before I even met these guys and found out about the value of measuring. And now I do understand the value of measuring, but we'd already been doing it for a year by that stage. And so, so there's no measurements. So I'm going to kind of talk to you from the point of view of, you know how sometimes you get these products which are kind of alternative. One of the guys had it in my office the other day, asking me about glutathione or glyconutrients and stuff. There's loads and loads of testimonials and anecdotes, but there's no real double-based randomized trials and stuff. Well, you guys are just going to have to believe me that this works, okay? Because I don't have the evidence to show you. We identified that we were going to go ahead and do this, and then you need to look at implementation planning. And remember, I'd spoken to you earlier about boot camp. Essentially what you do is that with implementation, you have to see everybody that's pre-booked, and you have to have the capacity to be able to take all your calls that the same day that call want an appointment, you have to encourage them to come in for a same-day appointment. And so what does that mean? Well, that means if you've already got a booked day, that means working twice as hard. Okay. So implementation planning is really important. What you need to do is that you need to identify in terms of timing, when are you going to do it? It obviously doesn't make sense to do it around holidays. You want to really free up your schedule in terms of holidays, in terms of commitments outside of the workplace, so that you can just sit down, knuckle down, and work in your practice. In the whole boot camp phase, it's really a slog, and you need to be able to focus on that. So the implementation planning in terms of the timing is really important. The implementation planning in terms of freeing up your schedule is is really important. And you've got to have the willingness and the team concept, that everybody's willing to give that little bit extra to try to make this happen and to achieve it. Then there's the implementation itself, and my role in that I'm going to go into a little bit more in the next slide. And then you look at and then troubleshooting. Okay, what's happening? What's going wrong? Why isn't it working? What's wrong with the system? Let's look at changing it and fixing these things. And troubleshooting is something that I struggled with in the first year of advanced access because I didn't have the tools to fix problems. And then after I went to iHigh, thanks to the Health Quality Council, it suddenly opened up a whole new world of how there are the tools out there to be able to address these issues. And then the review, which the reason why people might say review and evaluate is two different things. Well, review is something that we do on a daily basis in the team meeting. Evaluate is something which I hope one day when I have time to sit down and actually be able to measure and stuff. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to skip through the. I'm just going to quickly touch on implementation planning because I've been told that I'm going a little bit slow. I thought I had way more time than I was going to need. Okay, so education and team building I already spoke about. The booking strategy I already spoke about. What we did for the boot camp is that we tried to move out some people who didn't mind being moved out of the schedule, like some of the complete physicals and some of the timely visits, to try and free up the schedule a little bit. And then the other thing is education of the clients as to what you're going to do. Now this is very, very important, but there's also one of those things that if I were to go back and do it again with the knowledge that I have now, I would probably be sending out a letter to everybody to say, this is what we're going to do, and this is why we're going to do it, and please bear with us. Okay. At the time, we just decided we were going to, what we're going to do is we're going to educate the people on the go, and we're going to talk to them as the system changed, to explain to them why we're doing it. And it really worked well. We didn't have as many problems as we thought we were going to have. The other thing that you have to consider when doing the implementation planning is the changing roles of staff. You can expect a very heavy load of phone calls first thing in the morning when you have a same-day booking system. And then in terms of the changing work hours, I had a system where I had an extra lady come in and do extra filing and some admin work 2 days a week, and suddenly we had the need changed, and we decided that we needed somebody full-time in the morning to answer the phone, and so we had to make those changes. The ability to flex, I've already touched on, the ability to work a little bit harder when you need to. Okay. Then came the implementation, and the boot camp really wasn't that bad. We worked really hard for 2 weeks. We saw quite big numbers of people, and we, over a period of about a month, we had above average numbers coming through the office. Just to give you an idea, 35 to 40 is probably my regular day, and I think during boot camp we were probably seeing upper 40s, maybe in the 50s, and then following that for a few weeks after that, maybe in the low 40s, and then it really settled down quite quickly, and it was amazing. It was just amazing how well it worked and how short a period it took to actually do it. And I was normally booked up 2 weeks in advance, by the way, in case I hadn't told that. Education of the people. I'd spoken and touched on that in terms of how important it was to talk people through the system, through the new booking system. That was really important. And then in terms of ongoing evaluation and review, looking at feedback and looking at not only the positive feedback, like Jason said, not only thanks for getting me in. Do you know what? I still have people that don't understand that we do advanced access, and they still thank me profusely every day for fitting them in. Thank you so much for making us special, for fitting me in. I feel so special and so privileged. And you thank them and say, yeah, but we fit everybody in. So yeah, thanks for the thanks that you appreciate it. But it works the same for everybody. Yeah, they kind of just look at you. Okay. And then feedback from staff is really important. The team meetings, we have a huddle every morning at 8:45 before we start work at 9 o'clock. And we discuss the day. And my team is very much part of my practice in the sense that they know who's in the hospital, they know who's delivered, they know who's passed away in the nursing homes. And they very much feel like they're part of the therapeutic team rather than just answering the phone and taking people back. They know everything that's going on with the clients in the practice. Evaluating supply and demand is something which is ongoing, and I think that it's a constant struggle in Saskatchewan, because I really think that there is a fundamental mismatch between supply and demand in the province because of the shortage of physicians. And so that's something that is a struggle. Most of the time we are meeting the demand, but there are times when you need to flex and work a little bit harder in terms of meeting, in terms of being able to meet that demand. The use of PDSA cycles. Who knows what a PDSA cycle is? Okay, good. Okay. I should have got to this slide quicker. Yeah. That is a very important part of our practice, and anybody in our therapeutic team can decide to try something new. And we try new things all the time in terms of trying to fix the smaller systems and trying to get things running more efficiently. The use of lean, thanks to the Health Quality Council and some of the QI guys in our health region, and I was able to go to a lean workshop. We were able to do some spaghetti diagrams, and we were able to make some fundamental changes at the office and introduce lean concepts. One of the things that I did is that my medical office assistant, just an example, medical office assistant used to be at the reception area all the time. I moved her into my office with me. Okay, so now we share the same physical space, and we've got examining rooms on either side of us. And it's amazing how much less time I spend walking around the office looking for her. Okay, because I went to the IHI workshop, okay, and it's wonderful, and it taught me that. You do this little workshop where there's this clinic, and then you have to go and find somebody to chaperone, and their office is like way down the hall. I was in that situation, and so the use of lean has become, has become huge, and I look forward to doing more of that. The role of EMR, I actually wanted to come here and put big EMR on the thing, because I actually haven't been thinking advanced access at all for the last 8 months. EMR has been pretty much dominating my life because we went electronic. It's been wonderful too, and I would thoroughly recommend it for everybody. And I can't wait to use it to its full potential. Right now, it's one of those things that I'm also beginning to wonder how I lived without it. So in terms of implementation, the role of EMR is it's just making our lives easier. Okay, it doesn't sound like it would, but it does.